Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, we are cooking with gas. I know it's been about a month since we've done a podcast video, so I want to get back in the swing of things. And what better time to start after the nonsense that happened yesterday in the Xfinity race? I want to touch on that, but I don't want to get bogged down in NASCAR too much. Maybe this first video, since it's been a month or so since I've made one, we might talk about some things in depth with NASCAR, but I want to kind of structure this around the motorsports world as a whole. I'm going to have some personal interests of mine, which is Supercars and WRC. It's going to be pretty heavy on that content, and we'll touch on NASCAR stuff here and there, but after today, we're going to structure it a little bit different than what we were doing before. So thanks for tuning back in. Thanks for watching again, and let's get into it. So if you didn't watch the race yesterday in Phoenix for the Xfinity series, you missed a snooze fest, number one. And then the end was the biggest joke I've ever seen in my life. So for those that didn't watch it, Justin Allgaier dominated the race, should have won the race, but because of NASCAR's idiotic green-white checkered overtime finishes, which it's not overtime because it's not a ball sport. It's not basketball. It's not football. It's motor racing. So it's not overtime. It's a green-white checkered, and that's what they need to call it, in my personal opinion. I can't stand ball sport lingo being used in motorsports because they couldn't be more different from one another. So because of the green-white checkered policy, Justin ended up losing the race. Went into turn 1 and 2, overdrove the corner, washed up the racetrack, and Bowman and Almirola got past him. And so Bowman was leading, and then going into 3 and 4, Almirola got up underneath him and then just opened up the wheel, ran Bowman into the fence, and then crossed the finish line first and won. And Jamie McMurray and Parker Kligerman in the booth, they were talking about, well, it's not dirty. It's not dirty. It's not dirty because he didn't spin him out. He didn't get into the back of him and turn him around, so it's not dirty. So in what world is running someone into the fence deliberately, which Aric said that he did after the race was over? How is that not dirty? I've seen some similar things happen to Jamie and to Parker both, and I've seen both of them be pissed off that it happens to them. Yet they're going to sit in the booth and say, well, who cares, right? It's a Joe Gibbs car. We're glad that Joe Gibbs car won, so let's just make excuses for it. That's the way it came across to me. It's nonsense, and if it were any other form of motorsport, there would have been a penalty for that. That's not even, there's no question about that. Every other form of motorsport has driving standards rules, and NASCAR used to. Back in the early 2000s, I remember guys getting parked all the time. Like, off the top of my head, I think it was 2001, Kevin Harvick spun Bobby Hamilton out at Martinsville, and they penalized Kevin for like a lap or two for rough driving. Matter of fact, they penalized Lane Riggs last year in a truck race, I think at Nashville, for deliberately spinning out Stephen Parsons. When's the last time, excluding that scenario with Lane, when is the last time that's happened? It doesn't happen. It just doesn't. Number one, it's because NASCAR is flimsy, to put it mildly, when it comes to implementing the rule book. It's one of the only series that I think I've ever seen where they have a rule book, but it only applies to certain people in certain scenarios, usually based on what car you're driving, who you're driving for, that kind of thing. Case in point, when Austin Cindric spun out Ty Dillon at Coda. And, he hooked him in the right rear, turned him head on into the fence. The same exact accident that got Chase Elliott parked, was it Denny that got parked? Someone else got parked. So they set a precedent. So if you hook someone in the right rear and turn them into the fence, you're going to get suspended for a week. Unless apparently you drive for a Penske, if you drive a Penske car. Because in that case, then you're good. you're okay. You ain't got nothing to worry about. We'll just give you a little slap on the wrist, but you'll still get to race. That was what they conveyed with the nonsense at COTA by not parking Austin. It's Steve Phelps, Steve O'Donnell, Jim France. Either A, have no idea what they're doing, or B, they just don't care. All they care about is making money. And with the way the season has gone so far, I don't see how you can make money continuing on this way long term. You know, with races finishing under caution, but we're going to let some races continue to run to the checkered, even though there's a wreck happening. We can't make up our mind on how we want to actually officiate the end of these races. Then we keep coming up with stupid excuses, and it's just absolute nonsense, you know. And then the deal with Parker at Daytona, where according to the team, according to Henderson, Charlie Henderson's team, and Chris Carrier, the crew chief / team boss, according to them, NASCAR screwed up in tech and told them to raise the front of the truck up too high, which lowered the back of the truck, which made the back of the truck measure too low. And so the win was taken away from them. They appealed it, and NASCAR said, "Get bent. We're not overturning that." Which obviously, NASCAR never overturns penalties on appeal, unless you're Joe Gibbs and you are a factory Toyota team. Which the whole deal with Parker, you know, you can say that it's just the way that it was, that their truck was too low. That's the rules. They were disqualified. Okay. But it's pretty convenient that the guy that was in second place that ended up winning the race is a factory Toyota driver who's running full time. So he's playoff eligible. Parker is driving for a part-time Chevrolet team, which I'm going to go out on a limb and say they don't have a lot of factory support from Chevrolet. He's not playoff eligible because he's part-time. And so he kind of had the odds stacked against him as far as the appeal being, as far as the penalty being overturned on appeal. Chase Briscoe, on the other hand, was penalized for something with the spoiler and the brackets and the holes not lined up, something like that. And they appeal it, and it gets overturned. Go figure. Joe Gibbs, Toyota, factory Toyota team. And I think it's pretty much a well-known fact at this point that Toyota puts more money into NASCAR than GM and Ford do. That's just a fact, you know. But irregardless, my point is that yesterday was nonsense, you know, and it just goes to show, like, the fundamental issues with NASCAR at this point is it is run more like WWE, and I'm not saying that like it's scripted like WWE. I'm saying that it's the no holds bars, the constant running into each other, putting each other in the fence. There's no penalties. Every once in a while there is. It just depends on how NASCAR feels that day. We've got a rule book, but we don't apply it evenly. We judge each scenario on a case-by-case basis. That's all nonsense. There's not another form of motorsport out there that does that. They have rules in place. They're applied evenly across the board. It doesn't matter who you are, who you drive for. If you break a rule, you're getting X penalty. And that's the way that it should be. So you don't have people like me sitting around saying that it resembles WWE, being run like a circus. But it's been that way for years now. I don't foresee it changing anytime soon. I hope it does, but yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath. But speaking of circus, we'll talk about Supercars for a second. A couple of weeks ago, I didn't get to talk about it, but Triple Eight Engineering, which is the Red Bull factory Chevrolet team, or GM team in Supercars, and they have been factory GM team for years now, announced that they're leaving GM next year and moving to Ford. Okay, they used to be with Ford years and years and years ago. But anyways, they've been the factory GM team for a while now, and so they didn't tell GM until 24 hours before they made the public announcement that they were switching to Ford. Now, that is just on a surface level, and we don't know what all happened behind closed doors. They could have all just shook hands and everything was fine, but it just seems a little screwed up, after the amount of time and money and resources that GM put into that team over the years for them to just basically give them the middle finger and say we're going forward, and I hate to tell you, but we're making the announcement tomorrow. And the reason being is Walkinshaw Andretti United, which is a Ford team now, is leaving the Ford camp to go to Toyota when Toyota comes into the series next year. So it left a void that needed to be filled, and so they went and they poached Ford poached 888 from GM. And now there's rumors that GM may not even stay in the series. I hope that's not the case, because it's a similar issue to like WRC, where you only have 3 manufacturers in the main game. That would only leave 2 with Supercars, and that's just not a healthy look, I don't think. I hope it doesn't happen. Toyota, Ford, and GM would be a pretty cool mix-up. It would honestly be cool to see more. It'd be kind of cool to see Nissan come back. It'd be cool to see Volvo. That's probably never going to happen, but it'd be kind of cool to see some other manufacturers. Mercedes. That definitely will never happen again. But who knows? Who knows? So, also wanted to touch on, and this is another thing I didn't get to talk about, but Malcolm Stewart and Supercross, for all of you out there who pay attention to Supercross. Malcolm Stewart, Bubba Stewart's brother, James Stewart. James Stewart he's a champion in the 450 class, used to win all the time. His brother's been in Supercross now for 15 years. And finally, I think it was in Tampa a couple weeks ago, finally got his first win. And just put that in context, like, that does not happen ordinarily in motorsports, because if you're Michael Waltrip has said this about NASCAR. And so when you go that long without winning, you usually don't get the opportunity in 15 years to win races, because you're usually either A, out of the sport, or B, you're running with a team that doesn't have the ability to put you in a position to win races, But to Malcolm's credit, he's clawed and fought, and he stayed in the series. He's in his 30s now, which makes me feel good, that he can go out there and win races. We're about the same age, so that's pretty neat. It's pretty cool to see him win. Granted, Jet Lawrence and Eli Tomac and all those guys, I don't know if they were hurt already when that happened. I think they were. But, it's like Cooper Webb is smoking everybody right now, leading the points. And it's cool, I don't have anything against Cooper Webb, but, the real fast guys are sitting at home, messed up. So this was my issue with Ryan Dungey back in the day. People made Ryan out like he was, the greatest thing that ever climbed onto a dirt bike. But when you look at the stats of the years that he won, he wasn't running against anybody. People were either hurt or what have you. And then as soon as some stiff competition came along, then Dungey washed out. So that's nothing personal against him. It's just the fact of the situation. That's kind of how I feel about Cooper right now. Nothing personal against him. Just when the other guys were there, he wasn't winning races. That's also a fact. So I don't know. We'll see what happens when Jet comes back. If Eli comes back. I know Eli was talking about this maybe his last year in Supercross, so I hope not, because he was on fire before, not literally, but he was on fire before he got hurt. So that's basically it. Just wanted to touch on a few things that's happened since since he got sick and put the podcast on the back burner and wasn't really focused on it so much. We're gonna keep doing this moving forward, though. Get back on the horse and get back after it. So don't forget, for all of you out there who are interested in Rally Kenya, the Safari Rally is coming up on March 19th. So if you want to watch it, you have to subscribe to Rally TV, which is WRC's official streaming service. You go to their website and sign up that way. So you get to watch the live rallies when they're happening. And in between that, you get 24-hour rally content. And they'll show old rallies, they'll show different programs, stuff like that. So it's just 24/7 rally content. And so it's one of the best streaming services out there, in my personal opinion. I think it's $14 a month. If you want to do it that way, they got different packages, but I think that's per month is $14, which is not bad. not bad. And then Supercars is coming up, Melbourne. I think it's going to be a doubleheader with Formula One. So the way to watch Supercars in America is through the SuperView app. Okay, so you can do that through Supercars website, repcosupercars.com, I believe is what it is. Or you can go to their YouTube and become a member, sign up or whatever, and watch through YouTube. That's the easiest way to do it. Because the SuperView app is not like available on all smart TVs. I know on my TV I can't get it, so but YouTube I can. So, and you can watch it live through YouTube when it's on air. And with Supercars, what a lot of people don't know is every event outside of the doubleheader with Formula One, but every event is basically a festival. Okay, there's like, I don't know, 3 or 4 support categories on a given race weekend that run with Supercars. So you'll have like you'll have Touring Car Masters, you'll have the Dunlop Series, you'll have the Utes, Porsche Carrera Cup, on any given weekend. So it's worth the money. I think it's around $10 a month, somewhere, maybe a little bit less than that if you do it through YouTube. So check that out. Thank you guys for watching. If you found this interesting, like, subscribe, leave a comment, turn on notifications. Like I said, we're going to be doing this more regular moving forward. So I appreciate your support. By the way, we are close, or getting closer, to 2,000 subscribers. I had mentioned previously that we're going to do a giveaway, and that's still going to happen. So we got a bunch of stuff that we're going to give away. We've done a giveaway before, and I think I only gave stuff away to like one person, but we're going to do a lot more this time around. So I want to show my appreciation for everything you guys do, for subscribing, for supporting the channel, because it means a lot. It really does. You guys are awesome. I love you, guys and gals. And I'm going to do what I can to give back to y'all. So keep an eye out for details on that. I'll make a post about it and explain how we're going to do it and everything once we get closer to that time, because we're at like 38 subscribers, so 1,938. And as soon as we hit that 2,000 mark, we're going to hit the ground running with the giveaway. So keep an eye out. Again, I appreciate it. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
És 100 fölfele. 100 fölfele, jobb 2 tempó, 20-ra bal 2 tempó, 20-ra bal 2 tempó, 25-re bal 2 szűk, és bal 2, és bal 2, majd 50-re jobb 2, itt a bal 2, és 50-re jobb 2, majd szűk 50-re jobb 3 az aszfaltra. Szűk 50-re jobb 3 az aszfaltra.